traditions, faith, purpose, ethnic association, to realize that human beings really are part of the higher partnership, what we will call the divine spark and the scientific spark coming together. So it's not only the second coming of Christ, to use biblical language, it's the second coming of science. The second coming of science is waking up. We've fallen into a lower consciousness, a bottom below consciousness where we don't see, we evaluate the powers of the mind that we intuit in a conversation with the dolphins, with the birds, and the astronauts in outer space. Particularly astronaut Mitchell, who I was very close to, carried out experimentations even without the knowledge of NASA authorities. He chose 2 human biological targets on the Earth. One was Ingo Swann, and one was Harold Sherman. And they were able to receive, without error, mathematical signals from outer space. This shocked the scientific community. It also shocked what I would call the military-industrial community, and said, wait a minute, we don't want to go too far with this. If everybody thinks they can see through walls and things like that, there will be chaos. So again, what we're saying right now is it's easy to take the initial steps. What is difficult is to make the judgments and evaluations. Why? Because this applies to sociology, it applies to psychology, even applies to archaeology. I was one of the few who discovered the tomb of Osiris that was buried in Egypt. Without technology, you were able to see in advance, you were able to go and then use ground penetrating radar and various instrumentations to find this amazing artifact of ancient times. So to bring this all together.
I just want to also say that J.J. Hurtak here remote viewed the pyramids on Mars. He got the feeling we're pyramids on Mars. You went to NASA and you say, hey, are there pyramids on Mars? And they gave you the first pictures. You want to talk about that? How you
well, this is quite an interesting surprise. We know that every major civilization has pyramids, from China to ancient India, of course, in Egypt, even in Mexico and in Peru. But what we did know is that our neighboring planets, at an earlier stage of evolution, went through the phase of evolutionary intelligence. And since the pyramid is the most natural creative form that the mind can see, those life forms on Mars, yet to be recognized officially, built these great pyramids in a grid pattern. In other words, not by themselves, but within a pattern of 3 or 4 structures. Mathematically speaking, Mother Nature doesn't work in straight lines. It doesn't work in grid formations of structures. But there on Mars, in the Elysian Quadrangle, I saw, through my abilities in remote sensing, 4 pyramids, 2 major and 2 minor, in a mathematical pattern. I told NASA authorities that when they would go to Mars to look for specific areas, and when and if they would be finding them, they would bring me into consultation. And so it was my privilege to receive some of the first pictures that I published in the Keys of Enoch. So if you get this book, it's really the first disclosure reference. I was the first to disclose the pyramids on Mars, as well as the extraterrestrial aliens. We will find this to be no cultural shock. The Hopis knew about this, the people in Africa knew about this, the Zulus especially, that at one time there was parallel civilization. Life is abundant throughout the universe. And we have to grow up and go into what I will call a new spirituality, a new science, future science. Why? Because there will always be a future and there always will be science. So I recommend this book, available on our table tomorrow, because science, the true new science, future science, is on your side. These are the top experts. Hal Puthoff, Russell Tartt, Elizabeth Lauscher, who wrote over 400 scientific papers. One of the great female scientists of our time, cooperated with Desiree, my wife, and myself, as we published this book. What does it mean? It means that you don't have to bow down to naysayers. The scientific proof is on your side. You don't have to bow down to people who say, well, the Russians are going to take over, the Chinese are going to take. No. The science of the mind is on our side. We know their operations, including the run on banks, which was a mischievous attack by the Chinese to put fear into the American society, run to the banks. That all is part of the mind struggle behind the scenes is who is the best on first base. You are the first on first base if you love humanity. That's the name of the game. Humanity will survive. The greatest opportunities of a new generation are awaiting us, and the power of the mind, as exemplified in remote viewing, is one of the great gifts known historically to the great mystics and prophets, now revitalized, understood, and documented by the great scientists.
Yeah, it's a gift of the spirit. We can all do this. And Dr. Hertog's work goes into linguistics, it goes into anthropology, it goes into so many levels because his mind has been open to this cosmic download. And there's a whole story about how that happened, but it's in the book, Keys of Enoch, Book of Knowledge. And JJ is one of the leaders who are bringing in this new consciousness because he lives it. You know,
the government has had to wait 40, 50 years because of the culture shock, and so this has been basically a slow news release. What came out in 2017 about the Nimitz, all that goes back to 2004. In my book, I wrote that in 2004 there would be this a wake-up call. 2004 came, no wake-up call, but then official government in Washington said, oh, by the way, we did have films from 2004, and here are the films. So this is what your work is all about. Who's telling the truth?
Right, so it's a practical art that we're learning here today. Like, oh, you can even do it for the future. What do you want for dinner? How does that feel when you eat that meal? And what do you see for yourself in the future? If you can get out of the way, get empty, you can know all that there is to know. So any other messages?
Just want to say this is a very talented instructor, so stay with Alan. Alan will stay with me. We'll stay with the higher management of a new science, a new planet, Mother Earth, and the Hopis are right, and this is why we're gathering Hopi land. There will be major changes in our environment. This happens periodically, but we can ride the waves. We can surf the waves with a higher consciousness.
And JJ and Desiree Hertog wrote a chapter in this book, along with some other amazing experts like Linda Moulton Howe, John Mack, Whitley Strieber. So, JJ, thank you for your work. They have a table. Thank you so much. One of the leaders, way before anyone else at this conference has ever thought that there was divinity or awakening. JJ was there in 1973 with this download that he poured into the Book of Knowledge, Keys of Enoch, and has led the way. So it's an honor for me to stand and share a stage and learn from his wisdom and understand that we're coming into a new time, and there's been these people who've hacked the path through the wilderness before anyone, and we can follow that path and create our own paths once we get beyond this little cluster thing that we got going on here at this moment, this little threshold. We're just about to cross this threshold and learning who you are as infinite beings. And I see you later, JJ. And learning who we are as infinite beings is part of the new paradigm. I don't know, has anyone told you you are infinite forever beings? I mean, I'm telling you, but I'm sure you've heard it before. But they didn't tell you that in school. Imagine if they told you that when you're 5 years old. You're infinite, you could do anything, you could be anything you want. The world would be so much different. And we would live in the paradise that we were supposed to have incarnated into. We're just getting this to a level playing field, raising the frequency to be where we're always supposed to be, right here in this beautiful field of joy and possibility. That was the original plan for the incarnation. So it's not like once you've arrived, that's it. No, this is where it starts. This level playing field of infinite mind is where we create the new world from. And that's why we're all here, to learn how infinite we are. And I'm just going to go through a few more of these slides to show you how amazing that we really are. You know, direct your eye inward and you'll find 1,000 regions of the mind yet undiscovered. Travel them and be an expert of your own inner cosmography, which means your own inner constellation. So JJ, yes, he discovered the pyramids on Mars because he remote viewed, but the cosmos is full of infinite discoveries. We're living on this small little planet, and it's a lovely planet. It's one of my favorite planets. But there's so many other places out there. And actually, I teach a course called Making Contact with ET. So once you learn the basics of remote viewing, which I said everyone could do, and we're going to do it, then we go off planet. Because if you can be skilled enough as a remote viewer and we know what the targets are, and we get a group together, get sort of in alignment, when we go off to these other worlds, if we get an agreement of like, oh, I saw this there and I saw this there, it's like, if we get an agreement there, then maybe that's what's there. We won't know for maybe a couple of 100,000 years, but you know, the Egyptians would travel to Sirius. That's what the Great Pyramid's about, that Assyrian star shaft. So I think it's something that's been used throughout history, and I teach this with a group called lightnet.org. Yes, question?
Well, I think I know that you're running that class right now.
Yes.
And I really want to get on the email list for the next class.
Yeah, lightnet.org.
School.
Lightnet.org. We are remote viewing off planet. Once we learn the skills of remote viewing, we're going off planet, okay?
What's life, L-I-F-E?
Lightht net.org. Lightnet.org.
Okay.
Look, I think the next fest starts in June. Come on up. Okay, yeah. So we're in exciting times because once everyone learns that we're really superhuman, that we have these gifts, and what we really came for is to be creators. That's why you've incarnated, to make known the unknown. That's what one of my spiritual teachers said. Not to go over the past or what's already been known. It's to go into the future that is yet to be thought of and yet to be creative. Because we're always tapped into this infinite flow of time-space, which doesn't really exist. Time-space is only the things in which we identify the world, but there is no time-space. We live outside of time-space. This is what the work of Donald Hoffman's all about, and so many other people. It's like this: 1 billion stars go spinning through the night, glittering high above your head, but in you is the presence that will be when all the stars are dead. That's who we are. So we've come into these forms, but don't forget your infinite nature, because that's the essence of our being, is who we are. Now I'm going to give you guys just a little test. Let me see. Oh, I'm going to give you a little test. Maybe you've seen this. If you've seen it, keep the answer to yourself. But this basically is a test about count how many times the team in white, just the white shirts, passes the ball to each other. Just count the number of passes the team in white. Okay? And ready, and okay. What did we get? 14, yeah. Okay, the other question I have to ask, did anyone see anything unusual there? Like, what did you see?
Well, sometimes a person blocked it so you couldn't see who was
You saw a person block
passing
it?
or
Did you
who
see a
did.
person block it too?
Yes.
Somebody looks like a hairy people.
A hairy what?
Somebody with like a costume on walking.
Who else saw the costume person walk by? Anyone else? You saw it?
I did, but I
Sure,
I-
yeah.
I know.
But if you did see it, so this woman said they've seen this like thing walk. Anyone else see like someone like in a gorilla suit walk by?
No.
Anyone who didn't see like the gorilla suit? You're the same people in the room, right? If you did see it, then you're outside. But I'm going to show it again because we're all sort of a little crazy here, you know. And so look at this again, and I swear it's the same video. I had to tell this woman that she comes running up. So look at this again, and you know what? Yes. Look at the same video. I swear it. Watch it again. This time, don't count. Just watch the video. Same video. And it bangs its chest, just in case you missed it.
Wow.
Same video, and that's why the point of this is that there is so much going on in this space, and no one told you to look for it. They're saying, watch television, do your taxes, nothing wrong with that, and look down. And our view of reality has been so controlled and so manipulated because someone said, look here, don't look there. That we're missing not just the gorillas that are walking through, but the ETs, the higher dimensionals, the angelic forms. We're missing. Kimberly sees as the angelic form. Kimberly Merritt, she actually sees them, but because she's been open, but we've been conditioned to see this really narrow band, and that's always a great demonstration of why we miss the obvious, because we have to break out of the matrix of mind control. We've been mind controlled to stay in place, not question things, but we're here to start asking questions, start taking responsibility for our own bodies, minds, health. It's great for information. We're information junkies, but the idea is to take responsibility for who we are, and to know we're great, and that, no, I want to look over there. It's always the artist that looks outside the thing that the artist looks into the future. This is what Marshall McLuhan said. The artist is like the distant early warning signal from the future. So creativity is this flow of consciousness that's coming into your mind all the time. So it's the creators that really open up this realm. Like this is a picture by Alex Gray. Alex Gray, the artist?
Yes.
He draws. So this is what's coming into your brain all the time. This is coming into the right brain mostly. And so the right brain's picking up the internet signal. The left brain saying, no, that's impossible. We can't know what's there. And we've been overtrained in left brain awareness. From the age of 5, they're taught how to count, 1, 2, 3, and read, okay. And nothing wrong with that, but that blocks the whole other creative part of our mind. But then occasionally you get people like Tesla says it will be soon possible to transmit wireless messages so simple that an individual can carry his own apparatus. 1909, only 100 or so years ahead of time, because he didn't actually know. He had a sense of how it would come about, but he didn't know exactly. Oh, well, we're going to have Steve Jobs and we're going to do this. No, he saw the future and he knew what was possible. This kind, H.G. Wells, who wrote War of the Worlds, but he was also a visionary, said, a time is close at hand when any student in any part of the world will be able to sit with his or her own projector in their own study at their own convenience and examine any book and any document in exact replica. He had no idea what he was talking about. But he saw the future. It's like, hey, how'd you do that? How did you know that in no one even could imagine that. So for you, what do you think is possible that, what are you imagining that now seems impossible? When I was growing up, I saw these cartoons where people were talking to each other, like on a telephone, but it was like television set, Zoom or something. But I thought that was just like an amazing thing. I thought it would be really way off in the future before we'd have something where we talk to each other and see, because telephones were so much a part of it, that we thought that would even be possible. Of course, you get these things too. This is another Alex Gray. 1989, he saw these 2 planes flying over this World Trade Center in 1989 with this smoke, and this, he remote viewed the future there. But so you get fragments of the future sometime, and sometimes you get the whole thing. So he was a little freaked out when in 2001 this vision sort of happened. So it's like this. So we have these ones. We have this brain, this big brain. Of course, dolphins have a bigger brain. I hate to tell you guys. Dolphins actually function on the right and left side of their brain all the time. We have this little, it's not bad, it's a great piece of equipment, I'll tell you. You wouldn't want to be anywhere without it, but these guys, look at their brains. I'm saying if we want to find intelligent life, let's look in the oceans for some dolphin. Actually, John Lilly, who I knew, he anestetized the dolphins, wanted to see and they drowned. because they are conscious breathers. They sleep on one side of their brain at a time. So first they sleep on the left side and then they sleep on the right side. But mostly they're whole brain creatures. They're functioning on their whole brain. And we're divided. So this is our brains, you know, the left and right side. The left side sees the logic, the right side sees the pattern. So are you seeing the trees or the forest? If you see the trees, that's really left brain. You see the forest, then you're seeing the big picture. So we're seeing both, the trees and the forest, if you want to be a whole brain person, right? But so there's the left and right brain, there's also the lower cerebellum and the frontal lobe. We'll just do a little exercise. So anything you hold, this is the frontal lobe and the neocortex here, just like put your pen down, create a vision in your mind of what you want to create in your life. And hold it in your third eye. It really is an eye, it's a pituitary gland. Hold a vision of what you want to create right there, right between your eyes and the third eye. And just focus on that vision. Anything this is your personal vision for you. Think of an image that represents that. And hold that in your mind, that image. Okay, we're going to do this 3 times. We're going to breathe in the image and blow it out. So hold that image in your mind. And breathe that in. And breathe it out. Okay, one more time. Hold that vision in your mind's eye. And breathe it into your body. And blow it out. One more time. Create that image again. Hold it in your mind's eye. Hold it and breathe that in. And hold it. Hold it. Hold it a little more. Breath in. Focus, focus, focus. Hold it. And breathe out. And so be it. That's how you create your reality. This is remote view by Michelangelo of the brain. This is the divine force giving life right out of the pituitary gland, right out of the third eye to its creation. This is a little demonstration of what we just did. So anything you hold here with enough focus becomes reality. This is what Joe Dispenza talks about. So you hold that. If you don't create your reality, guess what? One will be created for you. It's a default position. So create the future you want, because that's why you're here. You're here to create the reality that you want. So yeah, so it comes down to left and right brain. The left brain is action, the right brain is receiving. So in remote viewing, we're going to be receiving. We're going to be receiving. It's the female part. It sees patterns, right? That's the logic of the left brain. It sees the patterns. The right brain sees words. It's about sending. It's about receiving. The left brain's past and future. And thought. It's the monkey mind. The right brain is present. When you are present, that's it. And it's about action and adjectives. It's not about naming things. When you name something, it's a quantum physics, you collapse the wave function, you say, I know what this is. The left brain loves knowing what it is. It doesn't really know anything, it just thinks it does. But that's the problem. So when you see a tree and you say, oh, that's a tree, you're missing the infinite being that's there. Or you say, I know who that person is. Like, it's impossible to know anything really, but you can be aware of the perception if you don't collapse the wave function. If you stay in that right brain awareness without naming it, you just can receive it all. So it's not about naming it, it's about receiving it. That's the signal, that's the remote viewing signal. When you open up your mind, you receive the signal. And we're going to do that in a second here. Let me just see if there's anything else to show you here, because let me just see this. I don't know if we can hear. My brain is only a receiver. Tesla again. In the universe, there's a core of which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of the core, but I know it exists. Right. Now, do you know about what's that? Jill Bolte Taylor?
Yes.
Have you seen that video?
Yes.
She lost her left brain in a stroke, and she became a pure right brain being. I don't know if we can hear this. Let me see if it'll play.
anybody that's going on an outdoor journey, the shuttles are here.
Oh, sorry, it's tight.
We can do remote viewing, sorry guys.
I
Oh,
know,
I thought I didn't know there was, okay. Well, I'll be talking about that again. Well, I have something in my pocket that we're gonna remote view, so write it down and show me when you,
I'll tap it.
Let's-
I'll
That's
find
what
you.
we're gonna do here.
I will find you. And I will
All right,
find
you find me. So that's the,
apologies.
no, it's okay, I didn't know that, I would have timed it, but that's
Sorry.
okay, we're good. All right, but let's do some remote viewing because we're gonna tap into the right brain. And we're gonna, so I do have this little object in my pocket, an unusual object, but I'm not gonna tell you anything more. But before you write anything down, we have to get empty, okay? We have to drop into the right brain. So just close your eyes for a second and just breathe in.
Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.